Hello and welcome to Campus, Clay and Meg's podcast about stuff. The only podcast that does not give you your recommended dose of vitamin C. Today, I, Clay, am with my co-host, Meg.
Hello, everyone. What topic have you got for us today, Clay?
Today I want to talk about real people in video games. Uh,
Okay.
Recently, a thing that's kind of been brought to the forefront of things I'm interested in because the new Fatal Fury is coming out, and there are just two real people uh, in the game uh, as like playable characters in a fighting game. It's Cristiano Ronaldo and Salvador Ganacci, I believe is his name, like a DJ, and it's getting like extremely mixed reviews of how people feel about it. Some people are like, "I love football. I love that Cristiano Ronaldo." Other people are like, "I don't really like Cristiano Ronaldo, and I feel weird that he is in my fighting game." And everyone just kind of looks at the DJ and goes, "Yep, that's a guy that's in there. That's weird."
No, I mean,
Funny enough,
I can see that being weird because you said it's a fighting game. They're obviously not actual fighters, so how are they going to be in a fighting game?
well, thankfully, a little while ago, Evo, the big fighting game tournament Evolution, held like a little beta tournament basically where they got the copies of the game early from SNK, and they got to play the game, and they held a tournament, and it was very cool. Uh, I Not to like say anything rude, but Cristiano Ronaldo looks terrible. Like visually, he
Oh
doesn't. He's not
no.
shaded in the same way as the game. He his movement is like really like stilted, and it's really weird. And then like the DJ, his animations are weird, but he like looks like a joke character, like in the fun way. His movements are silly. He looks silly. He basically just ascends into the sky. It's very funny. It, I if it's just it's I have no words to describe how weird all of this is in a game series that I think has been offline for like 20 years between the last Fatal Fury and this one.
Right, is this gonna be like a DLC or?
Nope, they are in the base game.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's what everyone keeps on like. Oh, if I could just choose not to get it,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
I'd
if it's
feel great.
DLC, just don't buy it and it's fine.
Oh, it has been 26 years since the last Fatal Fury game,
Oh.
and then like everyone was super excited. I was super excited. I'm still pretty super excited. Like it's tough not to be, but it's like, oh, then they announce them, and you're like, I feel conflicted.
I mean, I suppose the only other thing fans could do if they generally don't like it is to just boycott those characters, like, completely.
And there are talks of like people who run tournaments and that to being like they're just gonna ban like Cristiano Ronaldo or Salvatore from being playable characters. And I think that's a reasonable thing. I think it's one of those things of a lot of people who feel strongly about it probably gonna are thinking about not buying the game because of it.
Yeah.
But then I think the amount of people who might try these games for these characters also exist. So like, uh, I I living in the gloriously white nation of Canada, we don't have a large football following up here. But from my understanding, is Cristiano Ronaldo is in fact a big deal in football.
Uh...
So, and I assume everyone seems to talk about him a lot.
I mean, you're probably talking to the wrong person. Um, just FYI for all the lovely listeners with us at the campfire today. Obviously these are all just our personal opinions on literally everything and anything we discuss. I mean, I have very limited knowledge of football. I know of Cristiano Ronaldo. Um, but I mean, the stuff that I mean, to be honest, I actually was present at he was playing against the team I'd gone to see, and he actually was like pretty terrible. Like, he wasn't even very good at playing football at the time. Whether he was just having a bad day or something. Like, honestly, I don't know. I've seen better people play football with nowhere near as much rep that he's got. So, again, personal opinion. I don't think he's all that, to be honest. I certainly don't think footballers should be paid the amount of money that they're on, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, that is an entire topic in of itself. How much should people be paid?
Hmm.
Uh, but so I basically went down a little rabbit hole of just looking up like, oh, like what celebrities, famous people, sports people have been like portrayed in games, and I've come up with like a few lists, and it's a kind of neat list where I go like, yeah, you know what, like I didn't feel this way about a lot of these characters, but maybe it's because the just because the way of which the new characters have been revealed in a fighting game, and how a
Hmm.
bunch of these games aren't fighting games,
I
and
think
just
it,
how.
yeah, I think it just depends on the type of game they're being in as well. I mean, one character that comes to mind that, like, you're sort of like, oh, it kind of makes sense why he's there would be like Rambo, Sylvester Stallone's character in Mortal Kombat. You know, he's in the movies, he's obviously quite a ruthless killer, quite a savage killer anyway in his own right. So it kind of makes sense that he'd appear in Mortal Kombat, which is quite a violent fighting game. He's a soldier,
That's
he
true.
knows how to fight. So yeah, like you say, it just depends on what game they're put in and if that makes sense to the character.
Yeah, but I guess like it's still they brought in like you're right. It's Sylvester Stallone as Rambo, but they didn't bring Sylvester Stallone as himself. They brought in Rambo, and he just happens to look exactly like Sylvester Stallone because that's who Sylvester
I was about to
Stallone
say
played.
that technically
Yeah,
so played him.
yeah. They're like synonymous, but it's
Mm.
like they just Mortal Kombat, the new one, put recently Conan the Barbarian in, and of course, who does he look like? Arnold Schwarzenegger, because of course he would look like Arnold. It's the guy who played Conan the Barbarian on the movies.
You know what? I seem to have a weird, vague recollection that Jason Momoa also did a Conan movie one time.
Did Jason Momoa do a Conan movie? I am
I,
looking
I,
it up right
I
now.
feel like he did. I just remember scrolling through TV one day, just like trying to find something to watch, and I came across like a Conan movie, and I was sitting there watching it. I was just like, "Isn't that Jason Momoa?" I could be thinking that wrong, but I
Oh, no,
feel
no, no, you're right. Oh my God. There's a 2011 movie called Conan the Barbarian featuring Jason Momoa as Conan.
see why don't they have a Jason Momoa mod for Conan the Barbarian? They could have
I
both.
I think it's because it's got a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hmm.
I don't think that movie did well. Meanwhile, Conan the Barbarian, the 1982 film, okay, you know what? It's not. It has a 67% on Rotten
It
Tomatoes.
didn't
It's not a
do
great
that
movie.
much better.
I, it did more than twice as good, I
Mm.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that movie also came out in the 80s, so you
Mm.
know, it's a big old corn fest.
Okay, so
And
so now that we've sort of established that they have to be like the actual person, so it'd have to be actually Sylvester Stallone and not his character Rambo, who
yeah,
have you managed to locate for us today?
well, there's a bunch. The list is like a mix of like a Wikipedia article and several other articles I came up with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously completely incomplete, but like some neat ones. And yeah, like we've got Bruce Lee has played himself in multiple games or been portrayed in multiple games as himself.
Yeah, he would be in pretty much almost every fighting game, I imagine.
The ones credited are funny enough just Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee Lives, Dragon, The Bruce Lee Story, Bruce Lee, Quest of the Dragon, Bruce Lee, The Return of the Dragon, Bruce Lee, Iron Fist 3D. I'm like, I feel like Bruce Lee being in a Bruce Lee game kind of makes sense, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And then like one that I think like everyone probably knows um, is Mike Tyson's Punch Out. where Mike Tyson is the final boss. Not to be confused like the later releases of Punch Out, where they didn't have the license to Mike Tyson, where the final boss is called Mr. Dream, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, original Punch Out was Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and the final boss is you fight Mike Tyson.
Damn.
Uh, and I was like, okay, let's try and like stick around with like some fighting game stuff, and then the infamous Shaquille O'Neal in Shaq Fu. Have you ever heard of Shaq Fu?
I think so. I'm not sure. It sounds familiar, but like I don't. I think I've only heard the name. I've never seen it or played it.
It's a beat 'em up, so it's like one of those side-scrolling games where like Double Dragon style, like you go across the screen, beat people up. It was terrible. As like a lot of like again like mid '90s crossover games where it's like, oh, we gotta get people interested in basketball, so we'll get this player to be in this. Crazy enough, it has like a weird cult following. So I think in 2018 they made another Shaq Fu game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn. Uh, it also was in fact not great, not terrible though. It's like really mid, which I guess is better than how it originally was.
Mm.
But yeah, like going down the rabbit hole still of just people in games. We had Michael Jackson, who is portrayed in a ton of games in the '90s, uh, as like as a cameo or reference, but like not as a playable character.
Oh, okay.
And that, other than like Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq Fu, a lot of these characters you don't really play as them. Uh, if that makes sense, like Drew Carey is in Sims House Party as a cameo, and he just is himself. But you're never playing as Drew Carey.
No.
And maybe that's like the weird feeling is I don't want to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like if he was in the background and I said hi to Cristiano Ronaldo, still wouldn't want to do that, but it'd feel different. I wouldn't be pretending to be a real person. I don't know. It's so hard to like put the weird feeling of like I don't want to be somebody else that's real. But then we also had like the Tony Hawk Underground series, where technically speaking, you do in fact you can play as Tony Hawk. Like all of the Tony Hawk crew in Tony Hawk Underground 2, they're like real. They're all real people. But like that makes sense. It actually is weird to try and look at the like real people in video games, because 95% of them, they are cameos, or it's like games where if they weren't them, if it wasn't just them, it'd be weird. Like first off, there's about 2 million references of just like Guitar Hero World Tour, where people just play themselves, of like Lars Ulrich from Metallica, Lemmy from Motorhead. I'm like, yes, of course they're going to be themselves. You're looking at the band. That would be weird otherwise. But like, I can't seem to find anyone where it's like you're playing as a real person as themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on, because it would be a licensing issue, really, wouldn't it? So I suppose it's easier to have people as a and probably cheaper to have people as a cameo where they do like just a scripted thing that can't
Mhm.
be altered in any way, shape, or form, and that's sort of
Well,
it.
yeah. Well, the weird thing for fighting games is a lot of these games, especially like later on when they're finished up, a lot of them you like to get like a complete edition of the game. It has all the DLC on that on it. But because of how games are doing a lot of crossover characters and a lot of stuff like this, there's possibly a moment where I go, "Oh, you're not going to be able to buy a complete edition of the new Fatal Fury because, well, they don't have the rights to these two real people anymore." Or the scarier part is they do have the rights to those real people forever. And that's a whole different scary idea. I own the rights to Cristiano Ronaldo's face
Hmm.
forever.
Like you say, I suppose that's probably why they do like specific things. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't, like you say, the whole Cristiano Ronaldo and the DJ guy doesn't make sense. I suppose the only one that comes to my mind in the same sort of category of like, you like look at the company, you tilt your head to one side and be like, are you guys feeling okay? Was when Call of Duty put Nicki Minaj in their game.
Oh yeah. You know what? Did they ever re-release that afterwards, or once Mickey Minaj thing was done, did they just kind of scrub it from the game in all future releases?
To be honest, I don't know. I just remember it coming out on release, and obviously people like abusing it in the joke sense, because it is sort of
Yeah.
like because like you say, it's not. It's one of those ways where you're playing as her, even if it is obviously just like a model of her. So, you know, people can mess around and manipulate stuff to the degree that the game allows them to.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I
how is that why for years they never did it? Because obviously people are worried about what fans like would do with that sort of like stuff that they're given.
Oh, that actually brings me to a really cool point. Um, so do you know much about the Yakuza series of video games?
I know of the Yakuza series. I haven't actually played one.
You should check out the Yakuza series. Um, I recommend starting with Zero or uh, Like a Dragon, because both are very good starting points. And I know it is daunting to look at 7 80-hour RPGs and go, I work for a living and I can't do that. And that's understandable. But I do think if you've ever wondered why people watch soap operas, this will be the game that tells you why people love soap operas.
And also,
But
depending on your age, think of this as your retirement plan. That's what I think about all the games I haven't completed or haven't even played yet. It goes into the retirement pot.
oh damn, that is a good idea. I no longer have to feel bad about my backlog. That's called the retirement
It's
entertainment.
the retirement plan. So when I am stuck at the retirement home, I can just get the carers to come in with the next console, plug it in, and I can go through my games.
Excellent. Uh, don't worry, guys. I've got 800 hours of entertainment. I have 10 RPGs to play still.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, guys. I'm
Uh,
not going anywhere until I've finished all of these. Really? You're not going anywhere? Nope. I won't even die before I finish them.
but there's a side series on from Yakuza called Judgment, and it is a series of like, oh, you're a detective,
I
and
was
you're
about to
solving like
say
some.
that. Is that the detective one? Because I seem to remember a trailer for that.
Yeah, there's I think it's Judgment, and then is it
Because
Lost
it's
Judgment
it's
or
based in the same universe, but it's with, like you say,
it is based in the same like it is yeah it is the same uh game series. Like it's the games happen just to the left of the main game basically.
okay.
But the main character um in that game, I guess there was a big old disagreement with I guess the acting company that dealt with the mocap actor
Right.
for that, because like all the Yakuza games are mocapped and they look great and they're very expressive. But I guess the like studio again, this is just kind of hearsay on the internet. Oh, actually no, here it is. Judgment was withdrawn from the Japanese market in 2019 following. Oh no, that's a different thing. Uh,
A
but
topic for another day.
this topic is drug usage.
Oh.
Uh, no, one of the mocap actors from the game got removed for doing cocaine. Uh, so his likeness was removed, and his voice acting performance was replaced by a different actor. Like they just scrubbed him from the game entirely.
So wait, so if I'm assuming the person who did the motion capture wasn't the person that did the voice, right?
Oh no, it's the same. Usually it is for these games it is both the same person.
Okay, Because I only ask because I know in like other instances they've done the reverse of that, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, where
I definitely know they did it for Resident Evil Village and Devil May Cry 5, where they've had like the people who voice them do the motion capture, but the actual likeness has been taken from someone else.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so one of the actual issues was the main character. The acting studio, I guess that he worked for, did not want his likeness put on PC because of what people could do with that. I guess assuming that people would do something sinister or compromising or something. But I guess the reason that we haven't gotten a new judgment since the second game is because the studio released it on PC. They're like, well, no, you're not allowed to use the likeness of this person anymore, and so the series is just kind of stopped in a weird way. And it's like, I get that, but also I feel like that's a weird hang up.
Well, yeah, because surely they could be like, well, we will remove them entirely, like completely from the script, completely from the story, but we should still be allowed to do another game as long as that person is not mentioned, seen, or involved with in any way, shape, or form whatsoever.
Well, luckily, like unlike what we're really talking about is like real people in video games. Thankfully, these people look like themselves, sound like themselves, but they don't play themselves. They still play characters.
Mm.
So it's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger is Conan the Barbarian or Sylvester Stallone as Rambo. Though they look like him and sound like him, it's still we're looking at Rambo. So hopefully they can still talk about this character, but I think there is talk that they want to pivot that series into something else, where they want to like pivot to like one of the side characters instead, and I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Mm.
Uh, who knows what will happen? But yeah, like likenesses in video games and like just real people being connected to them is first off, it just seems like it's extremely messy in the long run. And depending on the game franchise, like I said for Fatal Fury, is just it feels weird and alienating.
Yeah.
Where like people go, "Oh, I do not feel good about uh, these real people being in the fighting game that's been 26 years in the making," and then other people who go, "Man, I'm super jazzed to play as this character in this game because it's based on my favorite guy." It's it's so complex and weird that it's so hard to like even get a good grasp on it. Because like I said, while looking a bunch of this up, a bunch of the like real people who played themselves in video games are either cameos, like sport games, or rock like game of rock band, and or people that like aren't integral to stories, so they like just kind of show up. Like there's a list of how many times Snoop Dogg shows up as Snoop Dogg in a bunch of games, and it's a lot. But like you never play as Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I thought it was just a neat thing to like talk about because it's weird, not because it's particularly like the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but mostly because like does it happen a lot? Not really. And again, from like the point of view of everything that I get to be involved in and people are excited and talk about, is it really does like color how people feel about these things.
Hmm. Because I mean, having like famous people in movies, whether that be for like them actually portraying themselves or just portraying a character, especially if you're using the likeness of the actual celebrity, that obviously has traction in its own right anyway. I mean, I'm looking at a list right now. Obviously, um, Elliot Page was in Beyond Two Souls. Keanu Reeves
Yep.
was in Cyberpunk.
What?
Um,
Keanu Reeves is in Cyberpunk? No.
You've got Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen in bloody Death
You know,
Stranding.
you know what? We could just do an entire chat about uh Hideo Kojima and all of his famous people friends inside his video games.
Yeah. I just invited all my friends to come and be in my video game. He just scrolls through his contact list going, who should I call today?
Who's getting in this?
Hmm.
No, yet you know what? When you spoke about movies, like it does feel the same way when like a content creator kind of gets in on a movie as like a cameo role. When what was I'm trying to think of one that was relatively recent. Here's one that like a lot of people liked. Did you ever see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
I have not actually seen the movie. I've only seen the trailer for it because I was just like, surely it's not going to be any good. I know that Matthew Lillard plays the good old baddie, having the time of his life. Bless him.
Matthew Lillard is a treasure. Finding out that Matthew Lillard played Shaggy in the live action Scooby Doo and then ended up being so good at it that they made him the official voice of Shaggy for a lot of the animated stuff is just hilarious to me. And then just every time I see Matthew Lillard, I'm like, that guy's just seems cool.
I mean, he definitely was the like when people think of Shaggy from Scooby Doo, everyone just goes, oh yeah, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, that guy. But the Five Nights at Freddy's movie actually had Matt Pat from Game Theory.
Oh God, no.
See, there, you got that's the reaction people have when Cristiano Ronaldo joined Fatal Fury. Is just, oh God, no. Like that's the like knee jerk reaction of just, oh, why are you here? But like, I mean, he shows up, I think, as a waiter in the diner at one point, and I think he does his like famous line of like, well, that's just a theory. A game theory.
Oh my God. I should have started talking over you before you had a chance to do that.
Yeah, no, you can't. This is also a parody, so no one can sue us for copyright.
No.
I also don't think anyone owns the copyright for that phrase, but just in case.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he does that, and it's his whole thing. And
Wow.
I don't know how popular Five Nights at Freddy's is, but I mean
they're making a second movie.
They're making a second
It's
one?
coming out on the 5th of December. And it's following the games because the teaser trailer that I saw, the animatronics look like they did in the second movie. Second game.
Okay.
As someone who has seen all the games.
Have you played all the games?
I haven't personally played all of the games. I have played 2, I believe, but I haven't played like all of them. But I have seen them all. So yeah. I mean, the overall like story at the beginning, like there is a good story to it. I think the issue was that they just kept it going for too long, and now it's sort of like outstayed its welcome. Like, I'm hoping the movies don't go down that path and they just stick to the original sort of like story that it was about, because I think the idea was that there was 6 games said to be made for the whole story, like all the characters involved, and the 6th game basically had like a symbolized thing at the end where like everything was like burnt down, like gotten rid of, you know, everything was sorted, fixed, done, finito, cool, awesome. And then obviously another company picked up the like the franchise and started making their own stuff with it, and it's kind of like, but the idea is sort of like not there anymore now, but they've sort of taken fragments of what the original 6 games were about and tried to carry it over rather than just starting with like their own idea with it, if that makes sense. It just sort of, yeah, it's sort of like oh, you're just keeping this going now, and it's just like, yeah, we you know, we thought this was over, you know, it finished in a semi good place. It was starting to outstay its welcome by 6, and now you're dragging it on to 7. I think there's going to be another one. I don't know. It's just like, oh, come on, guys.
Fair. It is. Sometimes things just overstay their welcome in general, and you're just like,
But the whole point of the games, which I'm hoping they stick to the movies, was that there's a lot of like hidden things that people had to like figure out as they went through. I know that's probably going to be difficult for them to do it in the movies because you have to sort of try and explain as you go. I suppose the best way they could do it in the movies is explain it to the audience, but not to the characters.
I mean, yeah, that probably makes sense. But I guess the problem is like you probably don't even have to explain it to the audience because a lot of people who are into that are probably just waiting to see the small references to it and just go, "That's the bite of '87." That's the only thing I know from Five Nights at Freddy's, and I assume it's important.
It is for it is for one of the characters. Yeah.
But I think my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's just fact is just the creator began as a video game creator for Christian adventure games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, yep, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, and they were just like,
Christian adventure games.
And they were just like, you know what? Let's just have a game about animatronics that are possessed by dead children that were tortured and abused by a very creepy guy who walked around in a bunny costume. Good content.
Honestly, it sounds like a lateral slide. Christian video game, bunny suit man, same thing. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's weird.
Mm.
Yeah, just back to like real people in video games. All I can say is it's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. It'll be a thing I will be thinking about as it comes out, and mostly just the thing of like I'm gonna keep an eye on and be like, does this happen more frequently?
Yeah.
Are there more games out there where you get to play as like a real human person, and not in the way that makes sense, where you like picked up Chuck Norris Adventures and played as Chuck Norris, but like where it's just like this real person has been inserted into, I don't know, Mario. You get to play as Eddie Murphy in Mario. That'd be weird.
I suppose the one sort of factor that will stay, like you say, I think it's difficult for them to do more like, here's like the model likeness of an actual person. The one thing that will constantly stay and will be something that will continue to stay around will obviously be famous people putting their voices to characters.
Well, yeah, and that one's been present forever.
Yeah.
Like the Mario movie having Chris Pratt as Mario, and how much everyone just kind of groaned at that. But like that's one, and they will always do famous celebrities instead of voice actors, and it bugs me.
Because the thing with like stuff like that is even down to like the more like not well known games. I mean, do you remember a game called, I think it was called Broken Age? It was like a point and click adventure game. Came out a while ago. Actually, how old is that game? I need to check. Holy guacamole, it's 11 years old.
Ooh.
11 years old.
I don't like looking up game dates anymore.
It's 11 years old, but it was one of those games that, like, I don't think it, it came out, as far as I was aware, fairly quietly-ish. But it's got bloody, what's his name? What's the name? Oh, I keep wanting, I'm trying to avoid calling him by the other name that he's well known by, but I can't think of his, Elijah Wood. He voices, he voices the main guy, because there's a female character and a male character, and you play the two, and he voices the male character.
Okay.
And it's just like, that will be the one, I think will be the one constant where you will see that happening. Because I mean, when I was looking through lists to try and find actual people, it was bringing up obviously famous people that have given their voices to characters as well. And I'm just looking through that list and I'm like, Oh my god, all of these people that have like done voices in video games that like you wouldn't really expect to do voices in video games. Like one of them was Emma Stone. I was like, what is Emma Stone doing in a video game? Like, welcome, Emma Stone. Please take a seat and enjoy our cool epic video game corner, and here have some beverages on us. But like, you sort of don't really expect someone like Emma Stone to just waltz into the video game corner and be like, I live here too now.
No, that I do love when you just get like surprised, like, oh, someone breaking out into voice acting or video games. It's like, oh, hello, person I liked in other things. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, just to rewind a bit, going back to like, don't like the idea that you'll get somebody to, and this doesn't necessarily have to be like a famous person, like a celebrity famous person now. When you ask somebody to do the motion capture for a character and the voice, but then you use someone else's face.
Oh. Yeah, that's weird.
So I mean, as I think I mentioned 2 games, and I want to discuss probably one slightly more than the other, but it definitely happened in Resident Evil Village. I know it happened there. But the other one, the one that the only reason I want to talk about this one a bit more is because I remember seeing like the models, and the models that they used for the faces, and then the people that actually did the motion capture and the voices, because the people that did the motion capture and the voices, same person. But then they just got another person to, and they did obviously like the scan of the face to get like all the proportions right. And then they say they used their face and then the motion captures person's face and sort of found an in between. But I would like to, again.
What game was this again?
Devil May Cry 5. Personal.
Yeah, because I feel.
Yeah, this is my personal opinion. I'm going to repeat that again. And I'm only sort of bringing this up because everyone needs to know, because this is going to be easier if I just explain. Everyone needs to know I'm a big Johnny Young Bosch fan. I think he's an amazing person. He's really cool. I've met him in real life, and he's a total sweetie. He needs to have more appreciation, and I don't appreciate the fact that they were like, yeah, we want you to motion capture and do the voice for Nero from Devil May Cry 5. You did them, you played them in Devil May Cry 4, so we just want you to come back and do the same thing again. But your face no worky for this. We're going to use someone else's face. And my brain goes, I beg your pardon. What's wrong with Johnny Young Bosch's face? Excuse you?
Yeah, that is weird. I love Johnny Young Bosch. Every time I think of Johnny Young Bosch, I immediately think of the Power Rangers movie and go, and you, I'm a frog. I just die every time. Because like everybody else gets cool powers and then Johnny Young Bosch's character just gets the power of a frog.
But I mean...
And everyone else gets a cool description about it. And the lady just goes, and like a frog, you get a kiss. And that's it. That's all he gets.
Oh, bless.
Bless Johnny Young Bosch.
But going one step further than that, I can't remember I think the guy's first name who voiced and played Dante was David. I'm gonna have to Google this to check. I gotta be politically correct if I'm gonna do this. Can I have the characters, please? If I'm gonna do this, show me the money.
Also, I was looking up Devil May Cry 5. I think actually almost every character has a face model, and that is different than their voice actor model and everything.
100%, right? So, according to the IMDb, which is normally fairly legit, I mean, just looking at the person who did V, he looks nothing like the model that they used, which I think is awful. Wendy Lee, what's wrong with Wendy Lee? Why you gotta go and use someone else's face? You know? I mean, you know, what's wrong with Virgil? He has a square jaw. Who cares? Just portray that square jaw. He deserves to portray that square jaw. It is so square. Oh my god.
He earned that jaw.
He earned that jaw. Let it be known. Give Virgil a square jaw. But like, it's just, I'm just looking at like the people that actually, you know, put in the work for at least the characters, and then compare it to the models that they actually used. It's just like why? Because the people that they actually got look nothing like the people that they actually chose, and it upsets me. Well, it does, because it's just like that person put in, you know, the voice and the work and the time and the effort. But then when you see them on screen, they're not, you can't see them. Like, I look at the way they've designed Nero, for example, and I look and I go, I can hear Johnny Young Bosch, but I can't see him. That's not Johnny's face.
That's true, but then again, I watch a lot of anime, and I hear Johnny Young Bosch a lot more than I see Johnny Young Bosch.
Well, yeah, but that makes sense, because that's hand-drawn stuff. This is like, you know, the idea they've gone is like hyper-realistic models that look fairly like, you know, human.
True.
There's a difference, basically. I will die on this hill. There is a difference.
Fair, but I do think they tried to like get character or like face models that look very similar to their original appearances as well. It'd probably be a bit jarring.
I don't know. Do you want me to give you a side-by-side comparison of what Nero looks like from 4 to 5? Because he looks nothing like he does in 4
Honestly,
from
yes.
5.
No, send it to me. That way I can be. I want to be put in my place about this. That way I'm learning, and having an openness to learn is important. So I'm assuming 4 is on the right.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I could see that, but there's a lot more similarities there than if you replaced 5 with Johnny Young Bosch.
Appreciate the fact that they can't just have the motion capture people just look like the damn characters. 4 makes more sense. 4 came out years ago where they weren't really doing the motion capture-y stuff, sort of, at the time. It was easier to just animate it as you went, but, you know, I wonder
if it's also a cost thing. I wonder if being both the face and the mocap and the literal model for a character might cost a premium, but breaking that into you're the face model, you're the voice.
You think that it would be more expensive to have Johnny just do the face of the character as well than hiring the model that goes down a runway to do it for you?
Probably only because there's a voice actors union. It might.
And there's probably most definitely a model union.
I don't know if there's a model union for mocapping in video games. I think they might be non-union.
I feel like there probably should be.
I mean, don't get me started. I think there absolutely should be a union. If you're doing work, you all need to unionize. Unionize the people. But I'm wondering if that's like a factor. Also, maybe it's just because they wanted to get excessively beautiful people to play these characters. That's also an extreme likelihood.
Which again makes it. I mean, like I know again, video game world, blah 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 blah. And I do get the concept. This was something else. I for some reason remember hearing something about, like, obviously people want to play people that look cool and look badass and look really pretty or really handsome. But then it's just like, okay, cool. They look all of that. How do you humanize that?
Oh, well, that's really simple. There's a little-known franchise called Yakuza, where you get to play as very handsome, cool people doing very handsome, cool things, and in fact are very humanized.
No, I mean, okay, I've said that question, and then as you were just like Yakuza, my brain went, oh no, I have the answer. It's called Hellblade.
That's true.
It's It's called Hellblade: Senua Saga. There's lots of cool people in that, and they're all broken.
See, that's how we humanize people. We just break the beautiful people.
Oh my god.
You're gorgeous and you're sad. I get you.
Oh no. You're gorgeous and you feel emotion? Beautiful. Love it. 10 out of 10 would recommend again.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that's getting close to our time. I'm not 100% though.
We are getting close to our time around the campfire today.
Fair. Then, in lieu of me probably rambling on and on about how weird I feel about a thing, I guess we'll probably call it there. Thank you all for coming by, sitting down, listening to us ramble about a thing that may or may not have ever crossed your mind before. If you'd like to support the podcast, keep having ears. Talk to people.
I think
Ride a bike.
I think. Wait,
Eat
what?
3 meals a day.
What?
Talk to your doctor.
No.
Talk to your doctor. Is this podcast right for you?
Oh my god.
Ask your parents' permission before going online. And remember, an apple a day keeps vampires and doctors away. Because vampires are, in fact, actually doctors. Good night, everybody.
Oh my god. Oh no. You broke me. Why did you have to break me?
Because I can just keep riffing. If I get into like a zone, I could riff for like an hour and
Yeah,
just
but
say
you
things.
think the thing was, I was like trying to like be like, wait, what? And then you just said something else. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, the secret to comedy is either being louder than everyone else or never shutting up.
Before we do leave the campfire, though, as fantastic as Clay's outro was, I'll give you a little round of applause. We will be doing podcasts on a 2-weekly basis, and they will be published every Friday. So the one that is published today, as obviously I am saying this as we're recording this, but I mean as it is, you are currently listening to it, will be the day that it is published every 2 weeks. So it will be every other week. I believe that was our plan.
It's that way I can continuously forget to look up stuff and remember in just enough time to talk about the thing that I was going to talk about.
We do both have busy lives, so it's helpful for us to have sort of like a scheduled day where we can make sure that the podcast goes out to you lovely people. But if you do enjoy the podcast, everything Clay said, but do hit the subscribe, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you have any comments about today's discussion, or can think of any other famous people that we didn't know about, drop them in the comments below. You could maybe surprise us with a few of your own that we didn't even think of.
Man, I never thought I'd get to be on something that I get to say. Remember, folks, like, comment, and
subscribe.
Wow.
You
That's
do
it.
now.
I've done it. I've achieved it.
You've achieved something. Oh, no.
Yeah.
But yep, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it as always, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye.